cannot change an unsustainable product by removing its packaging. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy that you wanted to join me today because today we are going to talk about meat consumption, sustainable meat consumption, and how animal agriculture affects our planet and how it is seen from the perspective of zero waste. I just had my morning smoothie. It's raining outside and it's probably really loud, so I'm so sorry if you are able to hear it. There's not really anything I can do about it, but let's go. The zero waste movement have a tendency to focus on physical trash. You know, the trash that pollutes our oceans and make up our landfills, that burn in our incinerators, and for a few people make up our trash jars as well. Because trash is important and how and what we throw away matters. It matters a lot. And trash should matter. So no matter who we are or what we otherwise believe or what kind of values we have, we should all try to minimize our consumption of goods. We should all try to minimize the amount of trash that we generate. So something like bringing a canvas bag to the grocery store or refusing a straw is a great place to start. But let's rewind for a bit and talk about the trash that cannot fit in a trash jar and that cannot fit in a trash can, because boy, there is a lot to go over. When I first went zero waste, everything I did in favor of one ultimate goal, and that was to keep my trash can empty. I didn't want to produce any sort of plastic trash whatsoever, but that was the only thing I changed about my life. How I generate trash and how I consume. I refused to look at what I consumed. I refused to change anything about my diet, and I was hung up on cold cuts and eggs and butter and steaks and chicken tenders and milk because I already changed so much about my diet. I thought that was enough. I did way more than I saw anyone else doing around me, so why would I look into distressing myself, inconveniencing myself even further in the name of sustainability? I just didn't really believe that was necessary. So I placed my secondhand jars in my canvas bag and I biked down to my local butcher shop where I asked him to put meat in my own jars, and with some skepticism he allowed it. So what exactly did I do wrong? I was running this blog, I was doing everything that I'm doing now, and I was getting so much criticism and so many questions about why I just didn't cut out meat. It would be way easier than biking back and forth to the butcher, and it would be way cheaper and way better for the planet. And I just couldn't imagine my life without meat in it. I couldn't imagine not having butter or milk in my house. I couldn't imagine going out to dinner with my family or my friends without having a steak. And these food products became such an important part of my life because I had to defend them all the time. It took me 2 years to actually realizing the impact of these products, because animal agriculture is one of the most polluting industries in the world, and that's no matter how we package it. The crops grown to feed cattle, pigs, sheep and chickens are responsible for a vast amount of deforestation and wildlife extinctions. 80% of all soy crops produced today is used to feed animals raised for slaughter, and the amount of water it takes to produce a single hamburger is that of 2,400 gallons. Half the freshwater usage in the US alone is used in animal agriculture. You could save more water by not eating 1 pound of beef than abstaining from showers for 6 months. You cannot change an unsustainable product by removing its packaging. The plastic packaging is that of a fraction of the overall impact and constitutes a fraction of the amount of destruction this very product causes to our planet, even if it comes in glass. So should we as consumers seriously hold ourselves responsible and accountable for everything that happens, good and bad, during the production of the products we consume? And a very unsatisfying but very short answer is yes. It was not my fault that the meat on my plate caused deforestation and pollution, no. But I was responsible for that happening because I supported that industry. Just like when you travel by plane and emit the same amount of CO2 as a small village, it's not your fault. I mean, you didn't build the plane and you didn't fly the plane, but the fact that you bought a ticket makes you responsible for the impact of that plane. I try to hold myself accountable for everything, and honestly I thought I was going to feel really sad all the time. But that was not at all what happened. Instead, it became way easier for me to let go of certain items that I have held onto before, or it was way easier for me to refuse stuff just because everyone else was doing it. In a nutshell, it became way easier for me to make sustainable choices because the metric with which I valued a certain product was not defined by convenience or by myself, but by the impact of the planet. And realizing that you have a responsibility is not necessarily a bad thing. Right off the get-go, it might be frightening or daunting or maybe even a little bit depressing. So let it sink in. Reflect upon it, carry it with you and apply it in your everyday life. We have plenty of governments, politicians and big companies, maybe even friends and family and strangers that will be telling you that this doesn't matter and that your actions alone cannot change anything whatsoever. But please remember that it does matter. It matters so much. My road to veganism was not at all easy and I had to go through so much difficulty to get here. I started out cutting out meat a few times a week and everyone was laughing at me, ridiculing me for doing so. Then I slowly transitioned into vegetarianism, a diet that I could not keep very well, and I had multiple cheat days. Every time I found myself in kind of a stressful or sad situation, I was suddenly craving meat. It was first when I finally took the step and actually went vegan and actually educated myself and looked into all the insane things that happens in animal agriculture that I could suddenly let it all go. And maybe your journey to veganism is going to be even longer, even more difficult. Maybe it's also going to be better or easier. I certainly hope so, but I cannot assure you in any sort of way. But I can promise you something. If you stop saying things like, I could never go vegan, I could never give up cheese, I could never give up meat, it's going to be so much easier to refuse it once in a while. Because every time I spoke out and said, I could never give up meat, I gave meat a power that it doesn't even have in my life. I ascribed value to it that it doesn't even have. But try not to say it out loud. Try not to give it that significance that it doesn't really deserve. And try having a few meals, try having a few dinners or even a few days without meat or dairy. It's not that difficult and you can make amazing dishes without it. But it's all about removing that significance, removing that power from these elements from your life that it doesn't even have. If you're interested, I have tons of vegan recipes that are going to blow your mind. It's not boring, it's not super healthy, all of it. I mean, girls love her chocolate chip cookies and fried noodles. But you can do it, and it's going to be good for you and it's going to be good for the planet. And remember your responsibility as a consumer. I don't know where you're watching this from, but I'm sitting in Northern Europe in Denmark. And when I'm talking to people about how we as consumers have a responsibility to make the right choices, people think I'm full of it. And that's simply because we live in a part of the world where we are extremely and utterly privileged. So apparently my camera erased the last bit of footage. I mean, because why not? But this is just me telling you, first of all, you cannot remove the packaging from an unsustainable product and make it sustainable that way. That does not work. Also, this is me telling you, never say there is something you cannot give up. Don't give this specific thing or concept so much power and control over your life that you cannot imagine your life without it. Always work towards being able to give stuff up. It's the most healthy way to live, just no joke. It's seriously true. And lastly, remember that you as a consumer have so much power. We can do so many things just by voting with our wallets, and it's really, really important. Don't let other people, politicians, governments or companies tell you that your opinion does not matter and that your actions does not matter. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and see you guys in my next video. Remember that you can find all my recipes and guides and whatever here on this channel and also on gittymary.com. Also, this video was inspired by Sustainable Vegan's image. She made a video a couple of years ago about invisible trash, and it's really, really important. So go and watch that as well. It will be in the comments. Oh no, like in the description. Cool. It will be in the description along with sources and like incredible credits for this B-roll footage. So yeah, see you guys next time. Bye! Thank you so much for watching this video, and also a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys help me create green zero waste content, and I love you guys. You can find the links to my social media accounts down below and the link to my Patreon on this screen. Bye!